Good morning, I'm Samriddhi K.C. and these are the headlines of the hour. Vehicle en route to Bajang from Dhangadi endures accident at Bhimdatta Highway, 3 deceased in the incident. National Examination Board decides to conduct NEB examinations from 4th of May. Students facing the brunt of last-minute decision, agitated teachers continue their protest. 26 people, including one Nepali national, killed in a terrorist attack in Pahalgam of Jammu Kashmir. PM Oli expresses solidarity with India, condemning the incident. And Delhi Capital records its 6th win in the ongoing Indian Premier League, defeats Lucknow Super Giants by 8 wickets. Three people have died in a mini truck accident in Doti. A mini truck carrying food grains and travelling from Dhangadi Kailali towards Bajang went out of control and crashed at Golden in Jorail Rural Municipality 1 along the Bhimdatta Highway, resulting in death of 3 individuals. The deceased have been identified as 32-year-old Arjun Dhami, the driver, and 42-year-old Ujjal Jagri and 40-year-old Jagat Dhami, all residents of Bungal Municipality 2, Bajang. Likewise, in the Sindhupalchok, an excavator carrying stones was buried by a landslide with falling rocks from above and the driver. The excavator operator managed to escape and save his life. Due to continuous landslides in the area, the buried driver has not yet been rescued. Due to the teachers' movement, the National Examination Board has postponed the Class 12 examinations. The examination, which was scheduled to begin on April 24th, will now be conducted from 4th of May. Chairperson of the National Examination Board, Mahashram Sharma, informed that the new examination date was fixed following the directive of Prime Minister K.P. Sharma Oli. Prior to this, the board officials had met Prime Minister Oli. Earlier yesterday, the board meeting had decided to conduct the examination on the pre-scheduled date under any circumstances. However, as the teachers' movement became more complex, Prime Minister Oli summoned the board officials this evening and directed them to postpone the examination.
सम्पूर्ण सरकारलाहरुको चाहना बमोजिम पनि यो परीक्षालाई टेक्निकली यसको प्राविधिक हिसाबले अहिले जुन विगत बाहिर जुन किसिमको समस्या देखिएको छ त्यो समस्या समेतलाई चाहिँ हामीले हेरेर केही समय हामीले सार्ने कुराहरु चाहिँ निर्णय गरेका छौं। हजुर 21 गतेदेखि परीक्षा चाहिँ शान्तिपूर्ण हिसाबबाट सबैको सहयोगबाट परीक्षा सञ्चालन हुन्छ भन्ने कुरामा म पूर्ण विश्वस्त छु।
After the decision to conduct the examination even by deploying staff, the Nepal Teachers Federation, which has been protesting for 22 days, had called the center heads, principals, teachers and school staff to Kathmandu to boycott the examination and participate in the movement. The examination had fallen into uncertainty after the Minister of Education, Vidya Bhattarai, resigned on Monday, while the teachers' Kathmandu-centric movement, which began on April 2nd, was ongoing. The situation has worsened between the government and teachers across the country, who have been on an educational strike for 3 weeks, leading to the closure of community schools nationwide. The government, citing budget constraints and other reasons, is determined to get the teachers back to school by any means and is unwilling to even hold talks. On the other hand, the teachers are adamant about continuing their protest on the streets despite the disruption of teaching and learning. Helpless students are caught in the middle of the self-interest and ego of both sides.
The strike by community school teachers and staff, which began on 2nd of April, has reached a confrontational point with the government. The government is ignoring the teachers' demands and is unwilling to negotiate. Furthermore, the recent statements of Prime Minister K.P. Sharma Oli seem to mock the teachers rather than offer a solution. The government strategy appears to be wear down the protesting teachers and force them to return home. Adding to this, the resignation of the Minister of Education has created a situation where the teachers' demands are likely to be left unresolved.
र यो शिक्षा कर्मचारीहरुको आन्दोलनप्रति यसलाई चाहिँ विखण्डन ल्याउने, तुवाउने, निर्णायक आन्दोलनलाई कमजोर बनाउने त्यो हाम्रो षड्यन्त्र हो। त्यो षड्यन्त्रमा जो जति लाग्नुहुन्छ, जो कर्मचारी लाग्नुहुन्छ अथवा शिक्षकहरुलाई फुटाएर लगेर लाग्नुहुन्छ, उहाँहरु जवाफदेही बन्नुहुन्छ। हामी यसमा चाहिँ सरिक हुँदैनौं।
The indefinite strike by teachers has affected everything from teaching to examinations, bringing the overall education situation of the country to a chaotic state. As the distance between the teachers and the government widens, leaders from the ruling party themselves have begun to pressure the government to find a solution through dialogue.
अहिले न्यूनतम रूपमा राज्यको ढुकुटीबाट जति गर्न सकिन्छ शिक्षकहरू त्यसमा सहमत हुनुपर्छ अनि आउँदो वर्षमा त्यसलाई आफ्नो पारिश्रमिक लगायत पाउने सेवा सुविधालाई बढाउँदै लाने गरी नै उहाँहरू जानुपर्छ।
दुवै थरीले भाषा फेल्यो भनेदेखि चाहिँ मिलिहाल्छ, नत्र भए त यो हट गरेर त दुवैजना पार लाग्दैन, दुवै थरी पार लाग्दैनन्। त्यसबाट सन्देश के हो भने शिक्षकले अहिले नारा लगाइरहेको आजको नारा सुनिरहेको थिएँ मैले, नारामा के भनिरहेछ भनेदेखि सरकार पनि परिवर्तन हुन सक्छ भनेर भनिरहेछ। अब त्यो स्थिति आयो भनेर त प्रधानमन्त्री पनि जान्छन्, बेकारको कुराकानी हुन्छ नि त।
The Teachers Federation estimates that fulfilling the demands of the approximately 17 types of teachers who have been working for 20 years, including permanent, temporary, relief, early childhood development and former higher secondary school teachers, would cost the government around 8 billion rupees. However, the government is avoiding this, stating that it cannot bear the additional financial burden for teachers while the country is going through an economic crisis. The government is also unwilling to clearly state the reasons for not being able to meet the demands.
साच्चीको आन्दोलन आजबाट सुरु भयो भन्ने लाग्छ के मलाई चाहिँ, हैन? आजबाट साच्ची आन्दोलन सुरु भयो किनभने सरकार हामीसँग पंखेजोरी खेल्न आएको छ। अब शिक्षक बिना सब गर्छौं, अब उस्तै पर्यो भने अब कक्षा कोठाको पढाइ पनि सुरु गर्छौं भनेर चाहिँ सरकार आउने अवस्था देखियो।
राज्यले प्रशासनले त्यति हदसम्म गएर एक त हामी यो देशको म्यान पावर कर्णधार उत्पादन गर्ने सेक्टर अनि हामी वर्षौंदेखि अपमानित छौं र हामी अहिले सडकमा आइरहँदा यति दुःख यति पीडा हाम्रा कति शिक्षकहरूले भन्नुहुन्छ तलब आएको छैन, बाख्रा बेचेर ल्याएको पैसा सिद्धियो, भैँसी बेचेर ल्याएको पैसा सिद्धियो, सरकार किन कानमा तेल हालेर बसेको छ।
The conflict between teachers and the government has further intensified regarding the Class 12 examinations. The government and teachers are two responsible parties of the country. If the government continues to show its ego, the teachers refuse to back down, and the state of no dialogue persists, questions now raise upon the future of education of the country.
Following discussions about India commencing the detailed project report DPR of the proposed Sabakoshi High Dam site, affected communities have formed a struggle committee and are protesting. Locals from the Sabakoshi tributary riverbank areas of Thankota, Bhojpur, Sunsari and Udaipur have formed a 71-member struggle committee led by Ashim Rai. They argue that the Sabakoshi High Dam will forcibly displace millions of citizens and that the project is not in the interest of Nepal and Nepalese. The proposed Sabakoshi High Dam site is located at Koshi Gorge, bordering the districts of Thankota, Bhojpur, Sunsari and Udaipur. An agreement to study the construction of the dam at Koshi Gorge, bordering these four districts, was reached during the then Prime Minister Girija Prasad Koirala's visit to India in 2048 PS. Since then, the Sabakoshi High Dam has remained a subject of controversy and discussion, with locals consistently protesting against its potential construction. Ambitious plans for the Sabakoshi River include generating 3,000 megawatts of electricity, operating large irrigation projects in the vicinity and constructing waterways with India. Bal Bahadur Rai, the central president of the Sabakoshi Janadikar Manch, stated that they have been raising their voices for a long time, asserting that the Sabakoshi High Dam is not in the interest of Nepal and Nepalese. However, the top political leadership has not sought a political solution to the issue. Welcome back. Nepal and India have signed an agreement to construct the 400 kV Inarua, Purnia and Lamki Bareilly cross-border transmission lines. An agreement for the construction of the 400 kV Inarua, Purnia and Lamki Bareilly cross-border transmission lines was signed in the presence of India's Minister for Power, Housing and Urban Affairs Manohar Lal Khattar and Nepal's Minister for Energy, Water Resources and Irrigation Deepak Khadka. The decision to construct these lines was made during the Nepal-India Energy Secretary level meeting held in India. The Inarua Purnia line is targeted for completion by 2028-29 2029 and the Lamki-Bareilly line by 2029-30. Both countries have agreed to establish joint venture companies to implement the projects. India has committed to importing 10,000 megawatt of electricity from Nepal over the next 10 years, while Nepal aims to generate 28,500 megawatt by 2035. Currently, the Dhalke-Bajar-Muzaffarpur line is only operational 400 kV cross-border transmission line. The Butwal-Gorakhpur line is under construction and agreements have been reached to build 2 additional lines to facilitate electricity export from Nepal to India. The government plans to invite the United Arab Emirates to invest in Nepal's hydropower and tourism sectors. During the 2-day visit of UAE Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan, who is scheduled to arrive in Kathmandu yesterday, the government will seek investment in Nepal's hydropower and tourism sector. Ongoing discussions between the two countries also include the rehabilitation of returnee workers from the UAE and the regulation of female domestic worker deployment.
Domestic worker उहाँहरुको ठूलो डिमान्ड छ त्यहाँ र त्यो बारेमा चाहिँ के छ भने चाहिँ हामी पनि आश्वस्त भइसकेपछि अनि हामी त्यो चाहिँ के भने युएई सँग हामी पहिले खोल्छौं त्यहाँ र त्यो हुनाले चाहिँ मलाई के लाग्छ भने अहिलेको भ्रमणले यो सबै पक्षलाई कुराकानी गरेर एउटा विश्वासको वातावरण पनि बन्छ र यसको भ्रमण लगत्तै पछाडी चाहिँ मलाई लाग्छ यसको परिणाम पनि आउँछ हाम्रा श्रमिकहरुको सबै किसिमका सुरक्षाको बारेमा उनीहरुको चाहिँ इन्स्योरेन्स देखि लिएर उनीहरुको चाहिँ वर्कस्थल देखि लिएर सबै कुराको बारेमा चाहिँ नि हामी के भन्ने विशेष गरिकन उहाँहरुलाई आग्रह गर्छौं त्यो आग्रहको आधारमा चाहिँ के भन्छ अन्य क्षेत्रमा स्किलका क्षेत्रमा पनि भनौं अथवा हेल्थ सेक्टरमा चाहिँ उहाँले के सहयोग गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ त्यसको बारेमा पनि हामी उहाँहरुसँग छलफल गर्छौं.
UAE Foreign Minister Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan is scheduled to meet Prime Minister K.P. Sharma Oli and Labour Minister Sharad Singh Bhandari today. Senior officials from both countries will hold discussions on bilateral relations and investment opportunities. The UAE is Nepal's primary labour destination with approximately 500,000 Nepali workers currently employed there. In 2023 alone, 200,000 work permits were issued for the UAE. Nepali workers have been migrating to the UAE under a general labour agreement since 2019. Now, autism has been identified in 4,886 people in Nepal. The World Health Organization says that 1 in every 100 people has autism. If this is a basis, then approximately 300,000 people in Nepal have autism. But neither has it been properly identified, nor is there a government organization working on autism. There has also been no concrete work on autism at the government level.
Autism is a neurodevelopmental disorder in children. This is a condition in which children have problems with communication. Children with autism have problems such as not paying attention to others, not making eye contact, not being able to speak according to age, and repeating certain behaviors. So far, it has not been discovered that autism is caused by this. However, various studies and research have found that problems with the structure of the brain or the way the brain works, as well as genetic and environmental influences, increase the risk. Likewise, doctors say that premature birth and breathing problems at birth also increase the risk of autism.
समय नपुगिकन जन्मेको बच्चाहरू प्रिटर्म बेबीजहरू अथवा पेटमा हुँदाखेरि आमालाई डायबिटिज भएको छ कन्ट्रोल भएको छैन जन्मिँदाखेरि जन्मिन गाह्रो भएर सास प्रश्वासमा गाह्रो भएर एनआईसीयूमा धेरै लामो समय बस्नु परेको अक्सिजन दिनु परेको बच्चाहरूमा बढी देखिन्छ त्यस्तै आमा बुवाको उमेर अलि भनौं न पाको उमेर भइसकेपछि जन्मेको बच्चाहरूमा अनि त्यसपछि आएर आमाले गर्भावस्थामा चाहिँ नि छारे रोग सम्बन्धी विशेष औषधि खाँदाखेरि त्यसमा पनि अटिजम बढी देखिएको छ साथसाथै अहिले आएर चाहिँ वातावरण प्रदूषण पनि एउटा प्रमुख कारण हुन सक्छ भन्ने चाहिँ नि धेरै अनुसन्धानहरूले देखाइरहेको छ.
Symptoms of autism usually appear between the ages of 18 months and 2 years. Although there is no specific treatment for it, doctors say that the sooner it is detected, the sooner intensive treatment, education, and therapy can improve the condition and behavior of children. There are about 60 organizations working directly and indirectly on the private level. However, there is not a single government organization. Although some local levels have started working on this recently, it is not enough. Although the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health and Ministry of Women, Children and Senior Citizens is responsible for arranging the education and learning of children with autism, they have not been able to work effectively.
अब पोलिसीमा बोलेर मात्रै भएन, त्यो सर्भिस पुर्याउने दक्ष जनशक्तिहरू जबसम्म सरकारी तौरबाट नै उत्पादन हुँदैन, हामी अझै पनि धेरै कुरामा आश्रित छौं, तबसम्म चाहिँ हामीले त्यो लेभलमा चाहिँ जुन पाउनुपर्ने सेवा चाहिँ पुर्याउन नसक्दाखेरि अभिभावकहरू अहिले पनि आजको दिनमा पनि अत्यन्तै यो विषयलाई लिएर चिन्तित र सबै चाहिँ आफ्नो थोप्लोमा भएको, यसमा चाहिँ सरकारको नजर नपुगेको हो कि भन्ने पनि उहाँहरूलाई लाग्न सक्छ। प्राइभेट थेरापी सेन्टरहरू अलिअलि आएका छन् जसले पनि सर्भिसहरू दिइरहेछ, तर अझै पनि दक्षताको चाहिँ हरेक ठाउँमा नै कमी चाहिँ महसुस हुन्छ किनभने ह्युमन रिसोर्स नै पुग्दैन।
According to the 2078 BS National Census, 4,886 people in Nepal have been identified as having autism. However, according to the World Health Organization, autism affects 1 in 100 children. Based on this calculation, it is estimated that about 300,000 people in Nepal have this problem. The government has stated that if the number of people with autism increases, it will take appropriate programs.
यसको संख्या अब ठ्याक्कै यति छ भनेर भन्न सकिने अवस्था त छैन देशभरि हैन, तर त्यसको संख्या चाहिँ बढ्दै जाने स्थितिमा चाहिँ मन्त्रालयले केही त्यसमा चाहिँ त्यो समन्वयको पाटो अलि बढाउनु पर्ने होला हैन, बजेटको कार्यक्रमको पाटोको हिसाबले पनि अलि बढी एड्रेस गर्नुपर्ने हुन सक्ला। त्यसको लागि हामीले सम्बन्धित स्थान तह र प्रदेशसँग पनि समन्वय गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ, किन त्यो जिम्मेवारी त नजिकको सरकारको हिसाबले स्थान तह पनि हो हैन, प्रदेश पनि हो, उहाँले गर्न नसक्ने क्षेत्रमा हामी गर्न सकौँला।
Every person with autism shows different symptoms. This also makes it difficult to tell who has autism or not. The government needs to raise awareness, identify those with autism, provide necessary support, and make arrangements for smooth teaching and learning.
That is all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.